Arsenal's transfer window has been one of the most debated topics among fans, and in big chats with supporters, the same question keeps coming up. What exactly did Arsenal focus on this summer? The answer is clear: they bought creative players. The logic was that Arsenal's problem wasn't defending, it was unlocking tight games, so bringing in flair and creativity was essential. Yet against Liverpool, halfway through the second half, fans were left scratching their heads asking where that creativity actually was. For all the £270 million spent, the discussion now shifts to whether this season absolutely has to end with silverware for Mikel Arteta. If Arsenal finish empty-handed again, what happens? Does the board continue to back him, or is the pressure too much? Some fans argue that Arteta has already transformed the club from mid-table mediocrity into consistent title challengers, which is true, but others question if he has the killer instinct to actually get Arsenal over the line, comparing his trajectory to Gareth Southgate with England. Good enough to take a team deep into tournaments, but maybe not ruthless enough to win. The debate intensified after the Liverpool game because it felt like a missed opportunity. Anfield is always a fortress, but this was a vulnerable Liverpool, still gelling with new signings, and their defense looked shaky in their opening games. Arsenal, instead of going for the jugular, looked cautious. They seemed to set up for a 70-minute stalemate, banking on their stronger bench to make the difference late on. That's a Mourinho tactic, not the fearless Arsenal brand fans wanted. And while some supporters defended Arteta by pointing to last season's 2-0 halftime deficit at Anfield where Arsenal looked clueless, they expected this revamped side to show bravery in the second half, to let creativity loose with players like Eberechi, Odegaard, or even more direct service into Victor Gyökeres. Instead, the game plan screamed negativity, and when Liverpool finally scored, Arsenal had no alternative approach. Paul Scholes cut straight to the point. Arsenal are better than before, but not yet ready to dethrone Liverpool or Manchester City. He pointed out that Arsenal had 53% possession but only managed a single shot on target all game. Odegaard came off the bench and couldn't influence proceedings, he's never got the chance to impact from midfield, and Gyökeres, starved for service, looked like an isolated figure. Scholes was baffled that Arsenal had signed creative players only to bench them in their biggest early test. He admitted a draw at Anfield would have been a fine result at this stage, but once Liverpool scored, Arsenal looked lost, unable to flick the switch from defensive to attacking. Fans watching on social media were split, some angry that Arsenal disrespected their own signings by not unleashing them, others saying patience is needed with so many new arrivals. And that's where the tension lies. Arsenal supporters want to believe that by November, when new signings have bedded in, the creativity will flow, but rival pundits like Scholes argue that statement wins have to happen now, especially against title rivals. There's a sense that Arsenal have become obsessed with defensive solidity at the expense of risk-taking, and while clean sheets and set-piece goals will take you far, they may not be enough to actually win the league. Arteta has turned Arsenal into a serious club again, but whether he can deliver the title is the question everyone is asking. For Arsenal fans, it already feels like a now-or-never season. Rival fans and neutrals see progress but also hesitation. And every big game, especially away at rivals, will carry this added scrutiny. The Liverpool defeat wasn't season-defining, but it reignited the fear that Arsenal are still missing that ruthless edge. Subscribe now because we're going to be breaking down every twist of Arsenal's season, from tactical gambles to dressing room drama, transfer fallout, and title race psychology. Leave a like if you believe Arsenal can finally cross the line this year, drop your thoughts in the comments on whether Arteta is the man to deliver the title, and don't forget to hit that notification bell because the debate around Arsenal is only just beginning and we'll be here to cover every angle. Arsenal's transfer window has sparked one of the most passionate debates among the fanbase, and in countless discussions with supporters the same themes keep reappearing, centering on the heavy investment in creative players and whether the club is truly set up to reap the benefits of that spending when it matters most. With around £270 million invested in signings designed to unlock defenses, provide flair, and bring unpredictability in the final third, expectations were sky-high that Arsenal would showcase a new level of dynamism in attack, but when the Liverpool game arrived, midway through the second half many fans were left frustrated, pointing out that for all the money spent, the promised creativity was nowhere to be found. The question that is dominating the narrative now is whether this season has to end with a trophy for Mikel Arteta to justify the continued faith the board and the fans have placed in him, because while everyone acknowledges that he has transformed Arsenal from back-to-back eighth-place finishes into a side consistently fighting at the top end of the table, there is a growing chorus of voices suggesting that progress without silverware is no longer enough, and that if Arsenal falls short again, it could raise real doubts about his ability to cross the final hurdle. Some supporters are unwaveringly loyal, arguing that Arteta has already done a remarkable job rebuilding the club's culture and identity, but others point out that great managers are defined not by steady improvement but by delivering titles, drawing comparisons to Gareth Southgate's England tenure where he guided the team to finals but always fell short of actually winning, leaving a similar lingering doubt about whether he had the ruthlessness to finish the job. That doubt was only magnified at Anfield, where Arsenal had the chance to make a statement against a Liverpool side that still looked disjointed defensively, having conceded chances in their early matches, yet instead of attacking with courage Arsenal appeared hesitant, setting up in a way that suggested the game plan was to keep things level until the 70th minute and then rely on the bench to tilt the balance. A strategy that felt more like a conservative Mourinho-era approach than the fearless brand Arsenal fans had been promised. It was a decision that baffled many because Liverpool were there to be tested, and while Arsenal's first half was controlled, the second half offered no switch into expressive football, no unleashing of Eberechi or Martin Odegaard from the start, no willingness to feed Victor Gyökeres with service in dangerous areas, and as soon as Liverpool scored through a late Dominic Szoboszlai strike, the game plan collapsed with no viable plan B. Paul Scholes was scathing in his analysis, insisting that while Arteta has made Arsenal more resilient, they are still not ready to dethrone the very best. He highlighted how Arsenal dominated possession with 53% but registered just a single shot on target in 90 minutes, a damning statistic for a team that spent the summer buying creativity.